24 podcast, where lifelong friends Dean Legiro and Eric Kuber share their love of all things music and movies. Dean has directed short films and is a music trivia buff. And Eric, trained in audio engineering, brings his extensive knowledge of music and film to the conversation as they discuss, debate, and celebrate their favorite albums, films, and much more.
Woo!
Hello, hello.
Live from Connecticut and Maryland.
Frederick, Maryland.
It is Wednesday night. Welcome. Yes, thank you, everybody. Stop clapping. It's okay. It's good. We're good. We're good.
Boy, people love us. See?
Yeah, well,
we're awesome. There we go.
It's amazing how there's no one here yet, but the crowd is loving us.
Yeah.
We've got one person here. Say hello so we know who you are. Oh, 3 people.
Boom.
Say hello in the chat so we know that you're here while I take a sip of my Blue Moon.
Refreshing.
Oh, yeah, with those oranges. Man, oh, man.
Not quite the weather for it yet, but I don't know.
It's always weather. Hello, Beth.
Hi, Beth. How you doing?
First name in the Dwight Burke wheel of names.
Is Dwight here? Is he here yet?
Zach, good evening. I haven't forgotten
Zach.
about your prizes. They are going out. They're going out into the mail. So I have not forgotten about you.
Could have just sent them to me, but anyway.
It's nice when you get a package sent to your house.
I know.
Especially if it's a package you don't know who it's from, then you'd be really
there you go.
careful opening it.
Beth,
So welcome to, it says it's Saturday night, but it's actually Wednesday night. And we are talking about SNL.
Yeah.
An expansive subject.
The rich history of SNL. Here we go.
Very rich. So we're up to what, 47 years? 47 years.
Yeah.
This is the 47th season.
Good Lord, I remember the first year. I don't know if you do, but I
don't. Hello, Sean.
I remember the day, George Carlin, the very first episode. I was
not me. I'm happy to say I was not up that late when I was a kid.
Saturday nights were always
live
great.
from New York. It's Wednesday night.
Yes. Hello, Sean.
It absolutely is Wednesday night.
No, but Saturday nights
Kelly,
was my night to get to stay up late, and the tradition was SNL, and then then you switch over to Channel 11, and they had Thriller and all these monster movies and stuff really late at night. So that was really cool.
Yep.
So, but
Christy's here. Welcome aboard
hello,
as well.
Christy.
Kelly is here. Beth is here. Sean is here. Zach is here.
Yeah,
and everybody
nice little
checking
turnout
in.
already.
So far, so good. So far, so good. We will let some more people come in. Just to shill, if it's Wednesday, that means tomorrow is Thursday. That means there's a new episode coming out.
That's right.
So, and it's a very special episode. We say that a lot, but, well, because they are.
Yeah, always.
We're not going to say tomorrow's going to be a shitty episode.
No.
Unless we do one on purpose and say, well, this one is, going to be a really shitty episode.
We really should. Right? I would love for somebody to comment on that, man. That would be so great.
That was just a really horrible episode. But tomorrow's episode is the amazing true fable of the Traveling Wilburys. And we're going to be talking about the fable and the story that is the Traveling Wilburys.
Finally.
Yes, finally.
But this one's on hold for quite some time. This was one of the first ones we were thinking about when we rolled it out, and we're like, well, I think we will wait on it. But we like we said, we pretty much covered the spectrum there, didn't we? Though.
Yeah,
we did Petty,
all of them,
we did ELO. So Roy Orbison was the only one I guess we didn't talk about.
And this is the first episode, full-length episode, without an album title associated with it. We are just talking. It is Traveling Wilburys, so we are kind of covering the whole thing since they only did 2 albums. We're just kind of
handle with care.
We did handle this episode with care. We absolutely did, and we talked until we got to the end of the line.
That's sorry.
No,
I apologize. Folks out there looking at me, my bloody lip here. We just moved into our new house over the weekend, Yay us.
Yay.
But we were dismantling this big wall unit in the basement of our old joint, and the thing kind of hit me right in the mouth, and I got a split lip as a result. So, now that I mention it, everybody's going to be like, "What is that?" What, focusing. So
that's what they always say when the wife takes a crack at the husband, right in the right, take a shot right in the kisser.
Yeah.
That's what you get for not doing the laundry. So tomorrow, check out that episode. Thanks to everybody that downloaded or listened to our episode this past Monday. That was another fun one. That was the longest and shortest songs, which was a fun subject to research and present. So thank everybody for that. If you would really tomorrow share the hell out of the Traveling Wilburys, we want to see that one do really well. Beth says congratulations on your new house.
Oh, thank you.
Your new living arrangements. I was gonna drive down there and surprise you, show up on your doorstep with a bag and say, "Here, I'm here."
I'm glad you didn't, but I appreciate it.
Kelly, we figured Kelly out. Taking a couple of rabbit punches on her husband.
Maybe
and
I
she even
deserve
put
it.
the little guy with the bandage emoji.
It's not that I don't deserve it, but yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh,
So,
boy.
anyway.
So we've got everybody's name in the Wheel of Names so far. We've got 2 prizes tonight if you came for the prizes. Eric, Eric has one set of prizes. If this is one prize in his hand. So if you want to debut that.
First off, we have the special edition of the Blues Brothers film, the classic John Landis movie, which is a special edition. It's both the theatrical cut and the extended cut. I didn't even know there was an extended cut, apparently, but some cool features on there.
Even more blues.
Yeah, and then, of course, the 30th anniversary of Wayne's World, which is one of my favorite SNL adaptations.
So that's going to be one. That's going to be one prize.
Yep.
Right, and then the other prize is going to be, this is where I come in and share. Chrome tab. There it is. We're going to put this on the screen. This is, let's get it loaded. There it is. We are going to be also giving away the Live from New York, the complete uncensored history of SNL as told by its stars, writers, and guests. You will get a copy of this paperback. From what I understand, it is 800 pages.
It's a beast.
Holy. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you?
Yeah, and they even updated it. So I think it goes up to the 40th season. So we're about 7 seasons shy of, the new cast, probably not much about them. Yeah. But yeah, it's from what I understand, it's quite extensive and a lot of fun too. And, a lot of great stories. So, it got really great reviews.
That's 800 pages is pretty comprehensive. I would expect. Covering everything, or up to when it was, I guess its first revision, as it were. So, cool. Let's get everything going then. So we're talking about Saturday Night Live. This is one that Eric we've been circling around this one as well.
Actually, didn't we? Wasn't it someone else who recommended or was asking that we should do? Actually, it was top 5, I believe.
Well, we were. That was the thing is we were originally going to try and do a top 5 of like SNL skits.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we could do that. I mean,
right. Yeah.
It would be very difficult and not only very difficult, hard to find them. Like you'd have to plow through so much material.
Yeah.
Unless you specifically had ones that were like
that's stuck in your memory,
which we all do. But to even find maybe some of the ones that you forgot about, it's like where do you start? What seasons do you start with? Hey, Dawn, welcome aboard.
Whoops, but I've had a few that I thought might have been some of my favorites, but then upon seeing them again, you're kind of like,
they didn't age well.
Yeah, they didn't exactly. So that there's that too, So, but there are some that are just absolute classics, and that's good. That's a testament to the cast members that did some of this stuff and the characters that they played, the reoccurring. So that was always, a great
and it's
thing.
a show that, you a lot of times you think about TV shows that last however long, right? Like Seinfeld or MASH or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a certain consistency to the show because you're tuning in each week to certain characters, and you expect those characters to react in a certain way. But with SNL, right, they found themselves in the unique position of turning over the casts and turning over writers would come and go. So it's not, as much as it's funny, it's as inconsistent as well, right? Mm-hmm. You'll get some. The way I thought about it when I was thinking about this was, usually when they turn over the cast and they kind of reconfigure it, it would usually take a couple of seasons for those kind of cast members to kind of gel, for the writers to kind of figure out what the strengths and weaknesses were of the performers, and then all of a sudden, like before you know it, all of a sudden it was like a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Dawn is saying, SNL Chevy Chase days, and then Eddie Murphy came right after that. So if we're talking about the first group, you had Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Lorraine Newman, Jane Curtin,
the original,
Garrett
ready
Morris.
For primetime players.
Yeah, the original, and Garrett Morris.
Yep.
And oddly enough, that Dawn mentions Chevy Chase because he was the first person to jettison. He was the first cast member to leave, right?
Right.
And that's when you saw the replacement is Bill Murray.
That's right.
Was the replacement.
And apparently, a lot of people hated
nobody likes Chevy Chase, apparently.
Yeah, he's just I don't know what it is about the guy, but apparently he's just very difficult to work with, and he's just...
he's like the anti-Bill Murray.
I think he thinks that he's better than he actually is, I suppose. And he was funny on the show, but no more than
he was like the breakout star at the time, so he was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go on to bigger and better. I'm going to go to films, which he did. Yeah. And back then, he did have a decent film career. He was in Foul Play with Goldie Hawn, and he did a couple of films, Fletch and
the Vacation series.
Yeah,
which, of course, they're
Caddyshack.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
which Bill Murray was in, oddly enough. But those two came to blows at one point. I think Bill Murray attacked Chevy Chase behind the scenes at one of the shows. Because they did not get along, and it came,
that's hard to picture because I don't picture Bill Murray doing anything like that. He's just such a chill guy.
To get under his skin,
Right.
So Dawn is very difficult. It was disheartening, but SNL soldiered on, right? And a couple of things that came out of the first season stayed forever, though, which is like the Weekend Update. Right. Yeah. So that was kind of something from the beginning, like pretty much from the start.
Right.
Was the Weekend Update and kind of spoofing the news and kind of.
Well, it was an opportunity to comment on the times, what was happening, whatever, political, social commentary, whatever, satire, which was the whole point of the show. But that was an opportunity to really get some voices heard and comment about the state of things, and they continue to do so today.
And put their spin on it, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think the latest stuff is getting a lot of flack and a lot of they're ruffling a lot of feathers with some of their.
Those are I think the news portions, the Weekend Update portions of the show usually reflect what is going on at the times in society. Sometimes they're more political, sometimes they're less, depending on it's basically a reflection of what's going on. So you've kind of. At least it keeps it contemporary and it keeps it timely for whatever is going on at the time when you're watching it. It's kind of
and depending on who delivers the jokes, that's like Dennis Miller gets my vote every time. I think he was the best. And then
all right, so let's put that out there before he goes any further. Who was your favorite Weekend Update, team or individual? Let's get that going in the chat. Who was your favorite Weekend Update anchor, as it were? So you're saying Dennis Miller?
Yeah. I love Dennis Miller. He was just the way he carried that, and he did it by himself. I think for the most part,
he had that snark.
He was kind of like the the later Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
But as far as teams, my vote would have to go with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. Very intelligent. They were such a great team. Working together. Two great writers too. Yeah, I might add. So
we got one for Norm Macdonald, who was, oh my God, he was brutal. Like he got shown the door pretty quick. He was just really, and Sean loved Carvey's impression of Dennis Miller, babe. Babe.
with that wig,
and he would have like the little head waggle. What he would do is like, babe, you're like the Yep, Tina and Amy as well. Yeah, they really kind of. reinvigorated that whole segment.
Yeah.
Having those two playing off each other, and Tina Fey being a writer as well, so she kind of was able to write to her strengths.
Yeah.
And they parlayed that into hosting like the Oscars or the Emmys, and then made a couple of films as well. Jane Curtin and Chevy Chase, and Dan Aykroyd was in there, right? Because that's where that Jane, you ignorant slut.
Yeah.
We got a couple. We got a couple for Jost and Michael Shea.
Michael Che, yeah.
Zach likes the current ones too. If I had to pick one, probably Miller. I'd probably go with Dennis Miller as well.
Yeah, he was
so irreverent. He was so irreverent and so self-aware.
Right, exactly. He was such a wise ass and just so like his delivery, I thought was great.
Yeah, and they didn't really. And the funny thing is they didn't really use him for much outside of that. Like once he got that spot, he pretty much became like became like his thing. Like he didn't really do any skits or anything like that. So
well, I think once they landed, like I think the same goes for like Tina and Amy, because they've been in some skits and stuff, but I think they were much better writers.
Yeah.
Of that kind of material. And of course, Amy Poehler go on to do like Parks and Rec, which is a political based show. And that's an amazing show.
Wow, there's a lot of people like Shay and Jost.
Yeah.
So that's kind of surprising that the new.
But it's also interesting the more contemporary commentary and the jokes, and it's much more hip, and of course there's a lot more memes and things you could do, and that kind of thing. So
would you say would you say it's easier then?
Probably, I don't know.
Right? I mean, if you're saying it, because of everything with social media and people just doing a lot of dumb things that get captured on video, it's very easy to get material.
Easy to put that stuff up there, and Kelly, that's right. Rick, Amy Poehler, that's with the braces. Yes, that was probably one of her like earlier characters. The little girl that always had the girls over for a slumber party or whatever.
Yep. I was going through. I was just trying to watch some skits, just trying to figure out like what some of my favorite skits were. And there was too much material, too much to watch.
Yeah.
It's John harder for the earlier anchors, right? You really had to kind of have your pulse. Now you can Google stuff and get information very easily. So. I think the earlier anchors, a lot of it was literally what was in the newspaper, what was in Time or Newsweek, finding it that way. And now with the internet and social media, you can find some more obscure, weird stuff and kind of really riff off that.
And that's the thing. The stuff itself sells itself. It's like it's funny to begin with.
Yeah.
So they or they'll capture somebody with a stupid face on, or there's so many things that where they actually back in the day, they had to write that material and really,
they had to really be in tune. Further. They had to be in tune with what was going on. So I've got a quick trivia question. Eric is going to take the rest of them, but I've got one. So if we're going to do some trivia, we've got some tonight. But Cherry O'Terry was great. She was really
loved her. Yeah.
Really one of the unsung heroes, especially the cheerleader skit she used to do with Will Ferrell, because he was so tall. And she was so short,
and they were brilliant together. The moves, the choreography of that.
And Cherry O'Terry was really great at improv. She was really just sharp.
Yeah,
like any skit that she was in, she was always on it, and just really great. She was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Okay, trivia question I have: who is the cast member that has been on the show the longest? Who has the longest tenure as a cast member? And I'm not giving out any choices, but I can tell you it's not Robert Downey Jr. because he was on for like one season.
Or Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah. Or Charles Rocket.
Yes, that's right. He was on there.
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus was also a cast member for a time. Yep.
We've got a Kenan Thompson, and he's on. His famous skit right now is the one I love is "What Up With That." Where we've got a Tim Meadows as well. So we've got Kenan Thompson, Tim Meadows. Who else? So what's your guess for the longest tenured SNL
member? Yeah,
SNL cast member. Tim Meadows had the Ladies Man, right? And he
Yeah.
actually
With his
parlayed a feature film out of that.
with his
There was-
cavatier.
yeah, there was some SNL films that made the cut. Elizabeth. Oh wait, Dwight. Wait. Hey, Dwight is there. Hey, Dwight. Kevin Nealon. We've got a Kevin Nealon. Mm-hmm. We've got a Molly Shannon. Wow, we're digging up some things. Sean Grady saying I love that skit because of Lindsey Buckingham. I found it because of that. Yes. So yeah, thank you. Sorry. But it's just funny anyway because the guests never get to get a word in and they just get that
Right.
slow boil. And the one with De Niro is just really funny.
Don't do it.
We got Molly Shannon, Kevin Nealon, Kenan Thompson, Tim Meadows. Anybody else want to take a guess at the longest? We're looking for the longest tenured cast member. Who is it? Who's been on the show the longest?
Oh.
If you're counting announcing, it could be Darrell Hammond. He did take over after Don Pardo passed away. They had a couple of in-between announcers, and now Darrell Hammond is the announcer, but he is not a cast member. Kate McKinnon, she is like the new, standard bearer for all the skits now. Guess would have been Tim Meadows. Eric, do you have a guess? Do you know who it is?
I was going to say Darrell Hammond. I know he was on for quite a long time.
Darrell Hammond is the second longest tenured cast member. Darrell Hammond was on the show as a cast member for 14 years. It seemed like he was never going to leave.
Yeah. I mean, he started way in like the early 90s. He was one of the original that new crew with.
Yeah, he took over the Bill Clinton impression from the late great Phil Hartman, because Phil Hartman used to do Clinton.
Yep.
When he'd be jogging and he went into like a diner and he just like was eating,
the McDonald's
Secret Service. And then Darrell Hammond took over the impression. But we did have two people that did guess it correct. If you said Kenan Thompson, 19 years.
Yeah.
As a cast member, 19 years.
Where
he has
did that
been
go?
on.
Where did that go?
Followed by Darrell Hammond. Was the second longest tenured cast member. Tim Meadows was in there for a while. Tim Meadows was, I think, 11 years. Hang on a second. I will tell you. Tim Meadows was 10 years. Kate McKinnon is 11. Kate McKinnon is 11. Seth Meyers is right behind Darrell Hammond. He was on for 13 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, but he did the update for a long time as well.
Yeah, he did it for a long time.
Yeah.
Adie Bryant, who's a current cast member, she's been on for 10 years. So there's only a few that are in the double digits. Kate McKinnon, 11. Tim Meadows, Seth Meyers, 13. Kenan Thompson is the rating holder. Cecily Strong has been on for 10 years, but I think she might be done this year. She's great too, Cecily Strong.
Yeah. And there's cast. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of the recent ones, and I know they added quite a few new members. She's much older than 11. Oh, I love Kate McKinnon though. One of my favorites by her is the one they did with Ryan Gosling, and it was the UFO skit. And they were all like they were taken, and they're giving their stories, and Ryan Gosling just cracked.
Yeah. I saw that one.
He just breaks character, and he's hysterical laughing because Kate McKinnon is just like this, where you guys are talking all spiritual. They had me peeing in a bucket and all this kind of thing, and they were jingling with my. Yeah, it was his, and Ryan. The camera wasn't even on it, but you could hear him laughing off camera hysterically. It was that was always great when the cast just cracked up.
Yeah, well, except for one, there was one cast member that was probably hired because he could not hold it back, and that's Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon, he could never.
He was not. His thing was just like he could not keep a straight face, and. It's funny when it happens naturally, but for him, it just seems like he could never keep it together, and that's like the Debbie Downer skit. Yeah, that was when they're all sitting around. I think it was Adam Sandler and I forget who it was, and Rachel Dratch and maybe Chris Farley or a couple of them, and she's making the face, and they're just Drew
Horatio
Barrymore,
Horatio Sands, and Yeah, and he was crying.
Yeah.
Horatio, he was so red, and the tears were like
Yeah,
streaming down his face. They
could not keep it together.
Yeah, that thing just fell apart. But it was so fun to watch.
Dawn put up Phil Hartman. Absolutely he was one of my favorite cast members, if not. Phil Hartman was such a treasure, taken way too soon. I was watching one of the skits this morning where he did like Phil Donahue. And he was just so great. He was such an anchor for that. Like that would be like the third coming of the cast, right? Because it was kind of like the original cast, and there was like the Eddie Murphy, Joe Piscopo era.
Yeah.
Right? Where they kind of were like the big ones. And then after that, it was like Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks, John Lovitz, Mike Mott, like that was like the third kind of generation, or the third big generation.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon still can't keep a straight face and not laugh.
And he's the host of the Tonight Show. Like, go figure.
Even when he was on Band of Brothers, it looked like he was going to start laughing.
Right.
Like
but the thing of it is that he is a funny guy and a fun guy. I mean, I love the fact that he loves to play games and all that kind of stuff and keep it fun and loose and
that's what he's made for. But for this stuff, it was more of a distraction. Sean with Hartman, Sinatra, and Ed McMahon. I was just watching a skit today also where Dana Carvey played Johnny Carson, but like Arsenio Hall, and he was called Carsenio, and he ccame out with the big and and Hartman was you are correct, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes that's how.
So great.
I feel like that on our cast. I'm like, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I say that a little too much.
Phil Hartman was such a treasure. He was so versatile. He would do any. He did they used to have the Frankenstein, Tarzan, and
oh god, yeah,
was it Frankenstein and Tarzan.
Wasn't
and
it like the Tarzan was like the caveman? He was a lawyer or something like that. But my all-time favorite skit with Phil Hartman was the Sinatra group because because Dana Carvey did a great John McLaughlin, like the McLaughlin group, and wrong, that I crack up every time. But Phil Hartman did a spoof on that, which was the Sinatra group, and oh my god, it was one of the funniest skits ever, I think. And Jan Hooks was Sinead O'Connor, and Sting played Billy Idol, and
Chris Rock was Luther Campbell from Two Live Crew. It was just
Mike Myers was Steve Lawrence, and Victoria Jackson was Edie Gourmet, and oh my god,
such a great one.
Yeah.
Sean Carvey is on the SNL Mount Rushmore. Yeah, the guy did so many impressions, it was unreal, right? I mean, George Bush, the church lady, Paul McCartney. He just did everything, and then eventually would strike gold with Wayne's World, right? With Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Which is actually Wayne's World. The first Wayne's World is the highest grossing SNL inspired film.
I love it. It's I when I saw that in the
highest
theater,
grossing, not even close. The other films weren't even close. Even Blues Brothers.
I can't remember the first. I mean, I saw our mutual friend John. I think he told me to go see it. Mm-hmm. He goes, "You got to see it." And funnily enough, one of the funniest characters in the movie is Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
He proved that he could be funny in that, because of that deadpan, the straight man. But it was, oh my god, he was so funny in that. Yeah. But
cool. Do you have a trivia question? Let's roll out some trivia.
I do.
Let's do it. He's got the book.
Okay. Aside from Weekend Updates, Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin, who were essentially playing themselves, who were the first reoccurring characters on SNL, making their first appearance on October. I'm sorry, who were the first reoccurring characters on SNL, making their first appearance on October 11th, 1975. So this was a group of characters.
So I think we can cut out the beginning of the question.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they did updates, so they were reoccurring, but who were the first group of characters that in those first couple of years, they were on quite a bit. I remember this now. I seem to recall. Yeah, and it was a weird
Muppets. Nope, not the Muppets.
Not the Muppets. They were, but you could be close. The Coneheads. It's a good one.
Uh-oh, are we getting closer? We're getting warmer.
I can't really say.
Okay.
Yeah.
We won't let it go too long if it's not if it's not happening. We'll move on from it and pick an easier question.
Well, it's not that. If you were a fan of the original show, you'll know it. But
we'll give it another couple seconds.
Well, I guess not.
Go for it. What is the answer?
The answer was the Killer Bees. Remember the bee skit? They were like Belushi. They were all dressed up like bees, going about their day every And yeah, they made quite a few appearances in those early days. So
So did the land shark from that era as well, right? Like knock on the door, pizza delivery.
Yep.
No, this is the land shark pizza delivery.
Candygram.
Open it.
Sorry, guys, my
land
camera's
shark.
a little.
Elizabeth, Joe Piscopo did a Frank Sinatra also with Eddie Murphy as Stevie Wonder. Yeah, that was his Sinatra was good as well. Piscopo.
Yeah,
his was a really strong impression, and those two got along great. Like they were just really in a lot of great skits together. Emily Gilda. Oh, okay. Emily Latella. Gilda Radner. Wow, Mike, he's going old school with that one. I had to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Emily Latella from Gilda Radner. That's right. We can't forget about the great Gilda Radner.
Never mind.
So we had a couple of favorites here. Andy Samberg was Zach's favorite cast member. We had Will Ferrell, who really was good. I mean, another guy that was just fearless. He would do any skit. They had one of my favorites from him was the jacuzzi when they're in the hot tub. It was like my lover with him and Rachel Dratch and anybody that was on the other side of it and Jimmy Fallon was off and the other guy. And
the best one was with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, and Jimmy Fallon.
And that was the best one.
Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh yeah.
You know. Is the moon really made out of cheese? If the moon
were made of spare ribs, would you eat it?
To watch Ferrell read the phone book. There was one when he showed up at a meeting and he was wearing like a American flag diaper, and that's all he was wearing, and he was just walking in front of everybody's face. A thong.
It was like a thong,
and they were dying. Like the cast. I think it was Molly Shannon. I forget who else it was.
Well, he's not afraid to get into the buff. Will Ferrell.
He's
not
always,
keep it.
They could not keep it straight. It was too much.
Yeah.
So there was great stuff like that. Another one of my favorites who had a hard time keeping it straight, but I loved watching him is Bill Hader. Probably in my top 5.
He's close.
I love Bill Hader. Oh my God, the stuff that when he would do Stefan on Weekend Update.
Yeah. I love when he did the Vincent Price specials. He did that Italian
Vinny Vici.
Yeah, with the pile of cigarettes in the ashtray, right?
The one with Malkovich when he does the impression of Malkovich. And Malkovich is like, that doesn't sound like me. He's like, that doesn't sound like me.
And he's a brilliant impressionist. He's got oh my God,
and
Alan Alda. When he does Alan Alda, oh my goodness, that is like by far the best impression of Alan Alda I've ever. Not that a lot of people do it, but but I mean, and maybe that's the thing. It's like he picks these obscure actors or whatever, like Lindsey Buckingham. Like who would ever think to do an impression, to be Lindsey Buckingham,
much less a silent impression,
and sit there and not say anything. Right, exactly. So
Sean brings up a good thing that Bill Hader never knew what was written as Stefan, because what would happen is, what's his name, John Mulaney, would write the Stefan stuff, and they would rehearse it, but then on the night of the show he would change the cards. And Bill Hader would just have to read what was in front of him and react, and that's why he would lose it so many times, because a lot of the stuff would be so random that he could not keep it straight and get through it. And he would just kind of put his hand. Oh my God, it was so great. His impression of Keith Morrison, right? Yeah.
Again, something so bizarre, like, because that's something that he thinks is funny,
loved. Yeah.
That you and I could watch. Dateline and make that comment, like, this guy's weird, like he just like really likes, and that's something that he thought was funny. And he created that character, and he actually met him.
They did on YouTube. Surprised him.
They surprised him. Keith Morrison comes in, and he was just like in the corner, like he couldn't believe it, and he was so like aghast. And they did
that skit, The Californians. With Fred Armisen and Kristen Wiig, and
he was great too. Armisen, he was a great writer. A great musician, yeah.
How can we forget The Van by the River with Matt Foley smoking doobies down by the river, living in a van, and they weren't ready for him. From what I understand, the table that was on the set was a real table, and I think Chris Farley had it replaced with a fake table.
Yeah.
So when he dropped himself on the table, they weren't ready for that.
Yeah.
So that was Christina Applegate and that was David Spade.
Right.
Were the kids,
and they were hysterical,
and they could not keep it like
even Kevin Nealon. If you see the camera pan over, even they were kind of like they had their little moment. They're trying to keep it straight, but yeah, I think so too. I'm sorry, guys, my camera is just not cooperating tonight.
It doesn't want to keep him in focus. Samurai John
that's
Belushi,
a good thing.
Right?
The Samurai Delicatessen, Samurai Night Fever.
Cut the sandwich with the big sword. Gilda and Baba Wawa. Gilda Radner was such a... we didn't mention her in the beginning either.
Oh, there
the original cast members.
She was a treasure, and what a loss that was. And I'll never forget, one of my favorite skits, actually, is when Steve Martin, after she had just passed, and Steve Martin was hosting... he paid tribute to her, and he couldn't even talk. He was so emotional about it. And it was the skit where the two of them are sitting in the nightclub, and like everybody's going about their thing, and then they look at each other and they just get up and start dancing. They do this complete like ballroom type dance, and the rest of the crowd is just completely still. And they do their thing, and it gets so ridiculous, of course. And Steve Martin does his little his little antics that he used to do on his stand up, and she was getting thrown around, and it just got really, really crazy. And then they just go back to their chairs to their separate tables, and then everything and it was such a great skit and such a touching. And when you see it in that context, of after she passed,
it's bittersweet.
Yeah,
very bittersweet. Do you have another trivia question?
A
little bit easier.
A little bit easier.
Let's lower it down.
Maybe you should. Do you have one?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm relying on you and your expertise.
My expertise.
Your expertise.
Okay. What were the names of the two cheerleader characters that Sherry O'Terry did and Will Ferrell did? Yeah,
it was not Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon. They were the Bee Gees.
But just again, like my Rob Lowe comment, Timberlake as well. Funny. He proved himself to be, he could have been on comedian. SNL himself because he was on so much as a recurring guest.
Besides the Bee Gees with Jimmy Fallon, he used to do that one where he dressed up like a hot dog.
Yeah.
Or dressed up like a piece of cake or whatever, and then there would be like a competing character
coming down to Hot Dogville, like with the big shoes. Yeah, it's just funny.
I think we have an answer. Craig and Ariana. Is that right?
That's correct.
Wow,
you get it. Craig and Ariana. Yes.
Way to go, Sean. Yeah, the Barry Gibb talk show. That was.
Oh my God.
That's
probably the best thing I think Jimmy Fallon ever did.
Yeah.
Because
But again, he could not keep it straight though. That was the whole thing. It was like even his own even the skits that he was like the main guy, he just could not keep it. So Sean saw Timberlake host live in 2004, his first time. Great show. Yeah, I've never had the opportunity to go to a taping.
Yeah,
you would think living in New York all this time, it's something you kind of take for granted. It's SNL, whatever. It's like no, but you probably should go. I do have a trivia question.
Okay.
There have only been 2 musical acts that have lip synced on SNL. Who were they?
You asked me to do an easy question. Boy.
Well, that's because it's the only. I just read something about this. That's why. I don't expect anybody to get it. One was like from the first season, and then one was a little bit more recently. And the one that was more recent did cause some controversy.
Okay.
We got one. Ashley Simpson was the performer. She performed one song, and then when she went to do the second song, they started playing the track for the first song.
That's right.
And the band wasn't ready, and she was just kind of awkwardly standing there dancing, and kind of like shuffled off the stage, and and then said, "Oh, my band played the wrong song," or it was a recorded track.
Yeah.
The Simpson girl, not Jessica. You mean Marge? It was not Milli Vanilli. Hub's Gyro is another classic. The other band was ABBA. When they were on in they were on in 1975. And
I could see that though.
Yeah.
Because their stuff is so polished and
yes, yeah, I don't
tightly
know if
produced.
Ready to play in a little studio. NPR's Delicious Dish Sweaty Balls with Molly Shannon and Anna Gasteyer, right?
Yeah.
Don't forget about her. She was formidable as well. It was just so many great, I started writing down my favorite cast members, and it took up like the whole page. I'm like, I have to it's just so many. Like when you start thinking about the different seasons, like you mentioned Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and so many other Jason Sudeikis, all these great people that came through. Adam Sandler.
Sudeikis
as well
was a great one. He was he
my nose is itchy.
What up with that? With when he's in the jogging suit
and we got he's got the curls. And he just comes out with the red, and Fred Armisen's in the back on the saxophone, like Kenny G. He looks like Kenny G.
My favorite one was where they have like the random people just come in, and they do like Boba Fett, like the guy dressed as Boba Fett in the audience. He's just doing his thing. And,
people just kind of, it's just so random,
just so stupid.
So she did like the side shuffle off the stage, Ashley Simpson, after she got caught. It was a Milli Vanilli moment where Milli Vanilli got caught on one of their concerts, or they were performing at a I don't know, Grammys or something, and the CD started skipping, and it's like, girl, it's girl, it's girl, like the CD skipped, like had a skip in it, and they kind of picked up, but at that point the jig was up. That it was kind of like, and then it turned out they weren't even really the singers anyway. They weren't really singing anyway. So
right.
Anyway, back to SNL. I said that Wayne's World was the highest grossing SNL film. I do have another trivia question. What was the lowest grossing SNL film? There was one SNL film. It was based on, these are based on the characters, right? They get popular, and then all of a sudden you start doing movies about them. One film, its total gross box office was $60,000.
Yeah.
The budget was $8 million. It only made $60,000 back.
Wow.
So anybody want to take a crack at what SNL character movie made $60,000 against an $8 million budget? MacGruber?
I want to say, I'll leave it to everybody else, but
it's Pat. The Ladies' Man. These are all good guesses. Stuart, don't forget about it's Stuart Saves the World too, right? Stuart Smalley. Stuart Saves His Family. So we got Ladies' Man. We got It's Pat. We have MacGruber.
My guess would be Superstar, where she put Mary Catherine Gallagher, Molly Shannon.
No, Superstar did pretty well.
Okay.
Night at the Roxbury. We've got another guess from Mark.
I actually saw that in the theater.
Well, then you contributed.
Oh, is that the correct answer?
It is not. We got a Superstar as well. The lowest grossing, verified. Jeez. Okay, they spent $8 million on this film. It made $60,000 back worldwide. $60,000. It's Pat with Julia Sweeney. Made nothing. And that's when they were cashing in, because that's when Stuart Saves His Family came out. It's Pat, Ladies' Man, started making all these films about these characters. It's Pat didn't really translate.
I couldn't stand her for 5 minutes, much less a 90-minute movie. I mean, why? Yeah, I forgot all about. They even made a movie. With
Wayne's World 2. Wayne's World 2 made $48 million worldwide, so it didn't make as much as Wayne's World. Wayne's World. Was a smash. Wayne's World was $183 million worldwide. Absolutely phenomenon. I mean, everybody was seeing that movie. If you weren't an SNL fan, you became one, because it was so hip, it was so inside, it was so self-aware. It just had all those different elements to it, and it was just, and then Wayne's World 2 was like, all right, they went to the well.
The obligatory follow-up, I mean, it's just,
that did not age well either.
Mm-mm.
So that's the movie portion of SNL. Of course, Blues Brothers was the first movie, which we are giving away. Oddly enough, what are we giving away tonight?
We're giving away a copy of The Blues Brothers and Wayne's World.
or
Both
as we
anniversary
call it
edition.
here, the Blurry Brothers.
Yeah, and they're both steelbook editions, by the way. The nice
Cool.
the steel casing. So
One lucky winner will get that. The other lucky winner, let me pull it up again. We've got two. Let's see. I got to get myself together here. Share screen. Chrome tab. The other winner of tonight's drawing will get a copy of Live from New York, the complete uncensored history of Saturday Night Live, as told by its stars, writers, and guests. That is an 800-page tome of information.
Yeah.
Copies, making copies. Remember the copy guy? Rob Schneider, making copies.
Making copies, yeah.
Oh, by the way, we're live at the Rarebit staff. Hey, Rarebit. How you guys doing? Rarebit is on Cedar Street in Dobbs Ferry. Great food there. It used to be, well, now it's just the Bit, actually. It's not even called the Rarebit anymore. It's just called the Bit. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you're checking us out.
Yeah.
If you want to share this screen onto the bar, if you've got a big screen into the bar, go ahead and put it on there. We would not have a problem with that.
Oh,
that would be pretty awesome.
Maybe you don't, but
sorry. Can't forget more cowbell. That is the classic among classics. Probably, if I looked it up real quick, I would think that cowbell might be the most watched skit probably on YouTube.
Yeah.
It is in the public consciousness for many reasons. It's got everything. It's got Will Ferrell. It's got breaking character with Horatio Sands and Jimmy Fallon and Chris Kattan as well. And then you've got like Christopher Walken,
Yeah.
Who was like, I got a fever.
Yeah.
And the only prescription is more cowbell.
And he's playing Bruce Dickinson. I don't get, that.
I think that's just the character.
It's like Bruce Dickinson before what? He's still an Iron Maiden at the time. Like why is he a producer? He's like this big time producer.
I think it was just like an inside joke. I think it was an inside joke, like a kind of a definitely quotable, right?
Yeah.
And also, Ray, the Continental.
The Continental.
Christopher Walken when he was with the silk robe.
And there's some champagne. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God.
I got a fever.
And I just love that, the handheld camera, it's like
it's from the first person, like he's talking right into it.
And he gets hit or whatever. He's just the door closes on him. Yeah, that's funny stuff. He was on quite a few times, as I recall. He was a recurring guest. The Five Timers Club. That's another thing.
That's another big one.
Yeah, so many people have achieved that status by now. But,
I believe. Let's see, who has hosted the most? Since we're on that, who has hosted the most amount of time? It is way more than 5 times at this point.
Oh, yeah.
The Five Timer Club is like small potatoes now. Not counting guest appearances. But who has hosted the most? Anybody want to take a guess at that?
I think.
Who has hosted the most amount of times?
I'm going to say
Martin?
I'm going to say Baldwin, Alec Baldwin.
We got Steve Martin. Steve Martin, he had the record and it was broken. So Steve Martin hosted 15 times. So we've got a lot of people, a lot of Steve Martin Appreciation Society.
Back in the day too. I mean, especially he was.
Christopher Walken hosted 7 times, so we'll kind of get that out of there. Who has hosted the most amount of times? Anybody else want to take a crack before we unfurl it? We do have one correct answer in the chat. 2 wild and crazy guys. Steve Martin was one. Dan Aykroyd is not even on the list for multiple hosting duties. But that's a great skit, though. Steve Martin was just like a mainstay. I think he was supposed to be a cast member. I could be wrong. I think they originally wanted him, but it was just too crazy. Yeah. The correct answer is Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin has hosted 16 times, or is it 17? 7, not counting as many guest appearances, he has hosted 16 times, surpassing Steve Martin's record in 2011. So, I never pictured that he would be he's been on it that much. You know, and it's probably more recent, you know, because obviously he wasn't on in the beginning. John Goodman was on the list. He's like 13.
Yeah.
So he was there. John Goodman used to do it a lot. I don't think he's done it very, very recently. Timberlake, not even on the list. I know he's hosted a few times, but not nearly as many. Even like Scarlett Johansson is a member of the Five Timers Club. She's been up there a lot. Tina Fey, obviously. Bill Murray is a 5-timer. Ben Affleck is a 5-timer. Timberlake is a 5-timer. Melissa McCarthy, don't forget about her as well. She's a 5-timer. Jonah Hill, Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd. There's a lot of 5-timers now because the show's been around so long at this point.
Yeah.
But it used to be a badge of honor because the show wasn't, you know, back in the 90s, if you hosted it 5 times, you were on quite a bit.
Yeah.
But now we're 47 years into it, so it's really not that big of a thing if you hosted it 5 times.
Well, they shouldn't really count former cast members, though. You know, when they come back to host, it's great, but they're
hosting.
Yeah, but I know, but it shouldn't.
Counts,
it
right?
shouldn't. You know, that shouldn't be a thing since they had their time. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah, but it's good if they were very popular, though. Of course, if you get Will Ferrell to come back 5 years after he left as a host, you're going to get ratings galore. So it makes sense for those popular former cast members to come back. Taylor Swift, no, not on the list.
Okay, so who had the best, in your opinion, guys? Who had the best films? Like, who was the breakout star, the absolute breakout star of SNL? Was it?
That's a good question.
Was it Will Ferrell? Was it Adam Sandler? Like thinking about they did. You know, there's so many great films out there that are not SNL. Related characters.
Okay, so you're talking what former cast members went on to bigger and better? Who was the biggest ones?
Yeah.
You've like you said, Adam Sandler. You've got Dan Aykroyd, very prolific career.
Yeah.
Bill Murray. Don't
absolutely.
forget.
I mean,
there's
it's quite a lot to think about there. You know.
Yeah, we've got let's see, we've got a Sandler, we've got a Ferrell, hands down. Well, Tom Hanks isn't a former cast member. He's like a 10-timer though. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Right. Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Anybody else? Who had the best post SNL career in films or TV? You could make a case for Tina Fey because she went on to 30 Rock, and that was a big.
Amy Poehler did
a big thing. Parks and Rec.
Yep.
So it's not just film, but Sean won. It is Robert Downey Jr. You know what? You might be right because he was a cast member for one season. He got the boot, but you know what? He's probably had the biggest carear in the past 12, 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
You know what?
As one character.
That's all you need. He might have just won the internet for tonight, Sean. Robert Downey Jr. for going in deep on a little known cast member who's barely on the show to he's parlayed his career in a trajectory no one ever would have thought. Bill Murray branched out best. Sandler stayed pretty much in comedy. A couple of dramas,
but a couple of dramas which were very highly
Punch
rated.
Drunk Love,
and of course, and he has his own production company with Happy Madison, which would go on to produce movies that he wasn't actually in.
Yeah.
You know, so they did a few films with other actors. So
we've got a lot of Adam Sandlers. We got a lot of Eddie Murphys actually, though. I think we have more Eddie Murphys. I don't know. I mean, he started out strong, but then he kind of really just. Vampire in Brooklyn, started making some really weird choices.
Well, he went from the real raunchy kind of stuff, right? I mean, he did those 2 stand-up specials, and then of course, Beverly Hills Cop, and 48 Hours. He became the star, but then somewhere along the way, he became like he started doing a lot of family movies, Dr. Dolittle and
Haunted Mansion
stuff for Disney and that kind of thing. So yeah, it just kind of lost his edge.
Yeah, strange.
Of what he was, but I mean,
You got
Coming to America might have been the last great film.
Yeah,
that he did. So.
And then he just did Coming to America for Netflix.
Yeah.
Mike Myers for Shrek. A little bit of trivia: the original
Austin
voice,
Powers. Yeah.
The original voice for Shrek was Chris Farley. And he had started recording all the stuff, and it just really wasn't working that much. It didn't have the Scottish accent. Of course, Mike Myers brought that. Yeah, and you brought up Austin Powers. I mean, the Austin Powers trilogy.
Yeah.
God, I don't know if at the time there was anything funnier than those movies. Like they got.
I always like watching those films.
Yeah, they got better and better. Farley had a decent career. I mean, if all you ever see is Tommy Boy, that's all you ever need to see. Fat guy in a little coat.
I know Mike Myers. I know he wanted to do a film adaptation of that weird skit that he used to do, Sprockets, where
Sprockets?
he was like, where he was like West German Dieter, with the pet my monkey, touch him, love him, such bizarre, really bizarre stuff, But
that was your answer to the original voice. Okay, for Shrek, got it. He was on top of it. He was on top of it, Farley.
And then Bill Murray, he's like a Wes Anderson mainstay. Like he's pretty much in all of his films. So like does that really quirky.
Not too many straight up comedies anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of like, it was Stripes, it was Caddyshack, it was all that kind of weird stuff. Groundhog Day was one of his. Hey Nick, welcome aboard. Better late than never, is what we say here.
Hello Nick Leshy. Sorry, I'm really really blurry here now. I'm getting.
It's because he's drunk.
Maybe it's me. Who knows? I don't know.
His vision is getting blurry.
I'm only drinking tea. It's just
so
tea.
You say.
Yeah.
Is it a Long Island tea?
No.
So Nick, we're talking about SNL. We've covered a lot of ground, but I think we got everybody's favorite cast member, did we not? I think we did that already, right?
No. We didn't actually ask everybody. I mean, we talked about it, but we didn't really put the question out there.
I think we did. It's up here somewhere. I think it's there. All right, we've got a little bit of time. We do have time to talk about musical guests, and that's a wide ranging topic. I don't know that I have ever a favorite musical guest. You kind of get to see a lot of different. We might be
better off talking about who was terrible on the show, because they right. I mean, that's the stuff that you hear about. The more controversial stuff was the stuff where. Sinead O'Connor burning the flag on.
Well, she ripped it. She ripped a picture of the Pope.
Oh, okay,
that's what it was. She tore up the picture of the Pope, and that just
that's right.
Created a firestorm.
You're done.
That was everybody was started protesting and all that kind of craziness. There have been a couple of I can't remember offhand, but there have been a couple of artists that were not invited back because they said they were going to do they requested to do like this song as off your new album, whatever, and then they just decided to do something totally different, which does not ingratiate you well with the producers and the powers that be, because they probably have their camera shots set up and they know what the song is and know what they're going to do, and then these bands decide that, well, we're going to be rock and roll and we're just going to go do something different from what was scheduled, and which is kind of cool and interesting, but I guess when you're trying to produce a show, it's not it doesn't work the best way.
Right.
And I was feeling that the true test, if you sound good, then if you sound good on SNL, you sound good anywhere.
I was just about to comment on that. It was like they have a notorious reputation of great artists appearing on the show. And like, we're talking like the Stones and Bowie and
Queen,
and they didn't sound that great. I mean, the sound system just wasn't there for these guys to really
more so I think in the earlier days they just didn't have that ironed out, kind of how does what's it, I mean, I think the artists nowadays it's a lot better, it's a lot cleaner. Nick is saying, did you talk about Andrew Dice Clay being banned? Not yet. So Andrew Dice Clay was banned because of his act. He was going to host, I think it was in the late 80s or early 90s, I think it was late 80s, and he was going to host, and because of his act, the misogyny, talking about women a certain way, Nora Dunn, cast member Nora Dunn, was like, if he's on, I'm not performing. If he hosts, and that kind of started a groundswell of people kind of, he's not the right thing, not the right fit, we don't really want this on here, we don't want him, he's doesn't treat women well, whatever. So they ended up disinviting him. Nick Leshy says Justin Timberlake was a great host and performer. Yeah, there have been a handful of those, of musical artists that also
hosted the show.
Some that just host, but then some that host and then do double duty as the musical artist as well. Which
Paul Simon did it.
Yep,
he did it in the early days, quite a few, actually a couple times.
And
those are the days like I remember the very first couple of episodes where they actually had 3 musical guests, 3 different guests, and they kind of put the kibosh on that really quickly.
Too much to wrangle. Sean says when he was young, he watched SNL in the 80s. First heard the musical guests, it confused him because how off they sounded. This is not really them. This can't be them. They just don't sound right. They got it, but the SNL band always sounded great. So I don't understand what the problem was. G.E. Smith was the band leader for a long time, and they always sounded great. They were playing out the the beginning and then the end.
Well, I wonder if it was a case of not having the time to rehearse, perhaps. They probably did, they probably showed up on the day. Yeah. Because sometimes they'd be in the middle of a tour. It's not like they were there the entire week with the rest of, the host working with the cast and rehearsing all week and doing, the table reads and all that kind of stuff. Musical guests probably just showed up on the day and maybe had an opportunity to do a sound check, if that. Yeah. I
got to think it's the acoustics. If it's a consistent thing, it's got to be something either with the equipment they're using there, or the production, or whoever's the engineer, whatever it is just not getting a good sound. Nick says Halsey was surprisingly great, both funny and talented host and a great singer. And Halsey is great.
Yeah, she is great.
Yeah, Schaefer was a band leader and also a cast member, Paul Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer.
But he
used to do a great, what was it, Don Kirshner? Remember, rock concert.
What happened to G.E. Smith? Good question. He kind of dropped off the face of the earth. He was with Hall & Oates' band for a long time.
Yeah.
Then he parlayed that into being the band leader for SNL for a long time. Mm-hmm. And now the guy from the Tower of Power, the sax player, he's now the leader. He's got that curly hair.
Yeah.
He's now the leader of the band. I forget his name; it escapes me, but I know he was used to be with Tower of Power, the brass section. Those guys are kind of standbys. If they can get good sound out of them, why couldn't you get good sound out of
the great Anton Fig on drums? He was there for quite a long time, as I recall. Yeah.
See, and those guys went to Dave.
The beret.
Those guys they became Dave Letterman's band. Was Paul Schaefer, Anton Fig, what's his name, Will Lee on the bass, and I forget who the other guitar player was, but GE was with Gilda back in the day as well. Wow, okay, I thought it was after that. I thought it was kind of late '80s or '90s was GE Smith. I could be mistaken, but or maybe he did double duty. Maybe he might have been there and then left and came back.
He might have started earlier than we initially thought. Perhaps he wasn't G.E. Smith yet. You know what I mean? You know who he is but back in the day, he was
he looks like a boxer. He does. He looks like a couple shots to the face, he has that rough and tumble look, not like not a typical guitar player look, but he's a great guitar player, he's a great musician, absolutely great musician. Yeah. So, if you're just joining us or you have joined us, tomorrow we've got an episode coming out. It is a true myth about a group of gentlemen that came together with 9 days to spare and 9 days to create 9 songs, and they did it. It is the story of the Traveling Wilburys. So if you would join us tomorrow for that episode, we would appreciate it. We had a blast, and it is a great, if you don't know the story of the Traveling Wilburys, it is as intriguing as the music and how these guys came together. Talk about lightning in a bottle. You'll hear that amazing story tomorrow, and it is literally a true fable. It's almost too good to be true that it has to be made up. Yeah. So Nick is saying, did you talk about the best era? Yeah. Original, not ready for primetime players. That current group is pretty talented too. I threw my hat in on the Phil Hartman era. I kind of like that third. I call them the third generation. I kind of like that when they kind of reconfigured John Lovitz, Kevin Nealon. That was like the for me the big resurgence, and when I really enjoyed them.
Right, I did too. But then we had Will Ferrell, we had Kristen Wiig, and and it's so hard to 'cause you think this is my favorite cast, but until the next group comes in, the only time that it really didn't happen was the '80s, because that's when Lorne Michaels left the show for a time, and Dick Ebersol
kind of left
took over, and it just the show just wasn't. It was horrible. That's when they brought in Anthony Michael Hall and these guys. It just really
head
bizarre.
scratchers. Yeah, very very much head scratchers. So What do you think? You ready to give some stuff away?
Sure. Let's
What do you
it.
say? So
Yeah.
what are we giving away again while you're in focus? Hold them up.
Right? Anniversary Steelbook editions on Blu-ray of the Blues Brothers and Wayne's World, the 30th anniversary edition.
So that is one prize.
Yeah.
That is one prize. The other prize is a copy of Live from New York, the complete uncensored history of Saturday Night Live as told by its stars, writers, guests, and guests. And that was the first revision from 2015. I believe it is 800 plus pages.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
it's been expanded upon. They go up to the 40th season. So
if you're into reference information and trivia, wow, this is going to be the book for you. You will be the SNL aficionado. So if we ever do an episode, you can come on and really kind of wow us with your information. So once again, we thank everybody as always for showing up. We do have a live meetup in the works. Everything got skunked this month. We were supposed to have it this week.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into it. But
yeah.
we did a lot of miscommunications and misfires with the venue, and then it was just it just didn't work out. So that is still on the cards for us. We will be doing something live in person real soon. Yes, those are good gifts. Those are really good gifts. So for either one of those gifts, you'll need to get us your address so we can mail out the DVD of the Blu-rays or get the book out to you. All right, we ready to do this? Let me get
the wheel up.
Yeah, let me get this out of here. Let's get the Wheel of Names up. Everyone's excited for the Wheel of Names? Yeah. Nice. I love the enthusiasm. I love it. There's the Wheel of Names. I'm going to put it up, and of course I would ask everybody just to make sure that your name is on there. I usually forget somebody, but we want to make sure that we got it correct. So here it comes. Here is this week's there it is, the Dwight Burke Wheel of Names. We're going to officially name it that. But just make sure I got Beth, Zach, Sean, Kelly, Christy, Elizabeth, Dawn Marie, Ray, Dwight, Mike, Mark, and Nick. Is that everybody? Wheel of Names.
Wheel of Dwight.
So last call. I think I've gotten everybody on there. Everybody that's come in.
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, I think
Looks
we
good.
did it.
Last
Yep.
call. Okay, I got it right this time for once. All right. How many shuffles are we going to do?
Let's go with 5.
5. You like 5?
I do.
Let's do it. 1, 2,
Nice round number.
3, 4, 5. Well, we have 12 entries, but we have 13 people. We had 13 people here, so I did miss somebody. Who did I miss? Nick, Dawn, Dwight. Do I have Dwight?
We got Dwight.
Yeah. Ray.
Got Beth.
Zach, Elizabeth. Maybe somebody popped in and they didn't tell us. Well, I'm very sorry. If you did not.
Dawn?
I got Dawn.
Oh, Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn is Dawn is there too.
Yeah.
So all right, well, let's do it. All right, we're gonna shuffle this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here it goes. This is for the Blu-ray 2-pack of Blues Brothers and Wayne's World, and the winner is Elizabeth Berg. Congratulations.
Nice.
I'm using all
Congrats.
of the sound effects today. Congratulations, Elizabeth. We will get your information. Actually, we owe Zachary a gift as well, so we'll just get all those, and Eric will get that to you.
Well,
our next gift, our next prize, I should say, is for the SNL book, the comprehensive look, 800 pages of SNL goodness. So congrats from everybody here is sending their congratulations to you. How many clicks? We'll do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is for the SNL book. Are we ready? The excitement
Let's do it.
is it's too much.
Okay, then.
And we've got
Oh, my God.
Zach is a double winner. Cleaning up That household is cleaning up. He has won the book as well. Congratulations to Zachary. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Fantastic.
Yep. Could not be happier. Yay! Thank you. We thank everybody.
I'm happy because I get to borrow it.
Hey, let me watch. If he gets it opened, that's not right. He's got to get that sealed.
Yeah. Right.
So that's gonna do it for this live from Connecticut and Maryland. It's Wednesday night.
Yep.
So thank you everybody for joining us. I see people are starting to pour out. They're starting to leave the seats already. It's kind of like a concert, like when the last song, everyone starts getting up. So we will keep it short and sweet.
We appreciate you guys.
Yep. Check us out again tomorrow. Share the heck out of that episode. It's a really great, fun episode. Thank you, Dawn. Thanks for hanging in there. We appreciate it. Thank you for showing up. A lot of fun. We will see you tentatively. We should be in 2 weeks, which will be on or about April 6th. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we'll have another subject. We'll have a whole bunch of other great prizes. And we will see you real soon. Tomorrow, Traveling Wilburys. And then Monday, we've got our quick hits. So for Eric, this has been Dean. We will see you on the flip side.
You've been listening to the 3324 podcast with Dean Legiro and Eric Kuber. You can find us on your favorite podcast provider, so please like, subscribe, and rate to become a part of the 3324 family. Your feedback is important, so make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at 3324 podcast and on Twitter at 3324p to join the conversation.